Welcome back to our channel, Hear Me Out with D.
And E.
And for today's episode, like we've been doing weekly now, we're going to be recapping the latest episode, episode 3 of season 3 of The Kardashians on Hulu. So, before we give you the recap, guys, please subscribe. We would love for y'all to join us. To talk to us, to listen to us, to call us crazy, or, hey, say you're right, because I think that we're right a lot of the time.
A lot of the time.
A lot. And also, we're probably saying what you're thinking anyway. So, yeah, just come on over. And also, like, share, all of that good stuff. Tell other people about us. I'd also like to apologize if my audio and my lighting is terrible. I'm out of town, but the game don't stop. So here we are.
Can't stop, won't stop.
No,
Like Diddy
we're
said.
cool. So, okay, last night's episode, or rather, I guess it would be today's episode. Um, well, we have some notes, and it's not that great. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that, and like we usually do, we're gonna have some sections.
We sure are. And it's a lot of them.
Cool,
Got notes.
guys. Guys, y'all want to break down? We got to break down. Okay, here's our review of the latest episode.
All right, so this episode was called Everything is My Fault. You know what? And everything was my fault for watching this episode. Let me take a break. Let me go to sleep on time because that's what I was thinking while I was watching it. All right. Similar to how we structured the other ones, we have about, I don't know, how many sections? 9 sections, like little compartments that we're gonna talk about. So let's get started. All right. So section 1, it's Kim and Scott having dinner. And, Kim, she's here talking about Dolce and Gabbana, blah, 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 the campaign. We get it, Kim. We know what you're doing. And she's just chilling with Scott and talking about the singleness and first dates and, how shy she is. Boring stuff. What do you think?
What? Okay, we're just straight.
Right in.
Okay, so one thing I'll point out is that, it's very interesting how in one of the previous episodes, I want to say the last one, Kim was ranting about how, people were not feeling the first 2 seasons of the Kardashians and how they've been doing, everything that they should be and all that. But here we are. Scott is now in every single episode, and he's almost been at the beginning of every single episode. He's appeared a couple times throughout the episode. And
Mhm.
that was one of the complaints we had. So, Kimmy, girl, you heard us. We must have had some kind of a point here. Anywho, the dinner was a little reminiscent of old keeping up dinners or lunches when they would kind of meet up.
Take the salad.
So I did kind of like that, and it is interesting because I think you and I off camera kind of touched on the fact that like it's weird seeing Kim and Scott together, but they are kind of like the only single and out ones of the family, sort of. So I guess it kind of makes some sense, And
What about Chloe?
Chloe's got a newborn.
She
Chloe's
got
not
nannies.
she ain't got time for none of that.
I guess.
No, the girl's got a whole lot of other stuff going on, but we'll touch on that in another section. So Kim and Scott, they're out, and I don't know. I thought Kim said she wasn't ready to mingle in the first episode, but now she says she wants to date not just one guy, multiple guys. Which
There's
hey,
nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong.
Disclaimer here.
Ain't no shaming over here. You do your thing, you know. But I'm just a little confused. Are we not ready? Are we ready? And the other thing that she touched on, which I thought was interesting and very much like I would think is accurate for her and her status, how difficult it is to even go on a first date. Because how do you just show up like, hey, I'm Kim Kardashian? Like, nice to meet you. People are going to have preconceived notions. That's gotta be tough. So that was like the main thing I thought of on that bit.
I just want to say that throughout this whole episode, and even the first two, Scott appearing made me so happy, but I feel like it's so not organic anymore. Like it's just so forced. He's just like a plug in everything. Everybody, everybody knows. We all miss Scott and all the nonsense that he says. But now it's just when have we seen Kim and Scott hang out? Even from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, even the first two seasons, they exed him last season. And
Yeah.
now he's all of a sudden here and he's trying to, I don't know, play the brother role like Rob. And I don't know. Then he says like these kind of weird, incestual kind of things. Like I don't know. It's very cringe. That's a new, what is it, Gen Z word, cringe?
Mhm.
Um, I don't like it anymore. I was happy the first episode. Now I'm not. I guess I'm flip-flopping like him. I'm just, I think I'm a little upset that he's in every shot and it doesn't seem like
Natural.
genuine and natural.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little off. It's a little off.
All right. Section two is, the least interesting to look at. Courtney. Um, she's shooting Let Me Fall in Love with Travis Barker, and she's doing press for it in New York. There's a special appearance of Domenico Dolce. And then she's talking about the relationship that she's had with him. She's known him for 5 years. She vacations in Portofino. They have dinners, they hang out, they hold hands. We get it. He's a family friend. You've known him forever. He did your dress, blah, blah, blah. This is bragging at this point, but I'm gonna let you take over first.
Well, I was not expecting that rant.
I
Whew,
know, sorry, I got ahead of myself.
we're really kicking things off in a high fashion over here.
Mhm.
Um, okay. So, I think it's awesome that Courtney, has her, her whole Lemmy situation, her business, and that she's doing all these things now for it, right? Because you have to promote it. That means shoots. That means interviews. All of that, and I think it's good to see her in that light because obviously we've discussed how there's been that whole situation of like, what are you really doing here and all that. Her and Travis, all the extraness. I mean, hey, if you guys are happy and in love, that's great. I love it for y'all. But sometimes it's just a little much. And then I was surprised, I'll be honest, to see Domenico because I was like, this is random. Why is Domenico like all over this season right now? Super weird. And
Mhm.
out of nowhere, oh, we've been friends for 5 years. Also very weird because I don't recall, and I definitely could be wrong, but I don't recall previous seasons in which, oh, my friend Domenico, none of it. So I don't know. This is all supposed to be kind of well, this is why I'm upset, kind of, giving her some sort of like backing prior to the whole blow up about this situation, which from the looks of it, this is going to be the entire plot of the entire season.
Which I'm so over. Go
This
ahead.
whole beef because this whole time it's Courtney talking about this competition with Kim that she's not a part of but she's a part of, and then Kim, I'm so worried about what Courtney thinks, but I have to do this. It's a great opportunity. At no point in these 3 episodes have they talked to each other, at least on camera that we've seen, right? So anyway, that was all just a little weird, like I don't know. I didn't really care for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy Courtney has her thing, and I guess it's the right moment. I think we're gonna
Yeah.
touch on it a little bit later. But just her, I don't know. I didn't like this section. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't even know. I don't know what she's doing. I don't want to take her vitamins. I'm not convinced. Okay.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
section three. This is Chloe with Tatum, not Tate, Tatum. And basically Chris comes in, she's asking about Tristan, which is, we all want to know. And Chloe says that she still has a friendship with him. And she's putting everything aside because of the kids. She's setting boundaries, which is great for her. I'm happy. And there was a little talk about surrogacy versus having a natural birth and how she's connected with her kids.
Oh, Chloe, you know, every time, like my heart just goes out to her. I mean, everything she's been through, you know, and then it's also evident, right? You know, yes, she's of course lost a lot of weight. She's got the bandage in her face, which is obviously because of the scar, the melanoma scare. And now, you know, she's dealing with a newborn that she didn't get to have naturally in the middle of yet another scandal with the father of her children while he's having another baby with another woman. I mean, and for her to have the strength to say, putting all that aside, let's be friends for our kids, that takes a sort of woman that, whew, I don't know if that could be.
I don't know if I have that maturity level, to be honest. But I commend her. I mean, at least the kids will see like a, amicable
Yeah,
situation, and that's always a good thing, even though she might secretly hate him, and I understand.
girl. Do you want me to be here for you? Because I got you.
No, I think the whole nation hates him.
Yeah, we got you. It's not a problem.
What is it? Triple T, quadruple T that he is?
What did you think though? Like, just kind of with her, or did it give you the idea that maybe she is doing this because of seeing her mom and the way her mom handled, you know, co-parenting, like for them, and then eventually for Kendall and Kylie? Like, do you think that was probably a big role in her decision to do all this?
I mean, I think so. I don't know. I think they're all going through such, I guess they're all single except for Courtney.
Courtney, yeah.
Um, yeah, I think, they always talk highly about how Chris used to, and the dad and Caitlyn now, Bruce then, how they all used to, just kind of like co-parent and they were friends and it was, very amicable. I could say that in the Latino community, that ain't happening. I wish it would, but it doesn't. So, I think, she's just following the example. And of course, she wants the best for her kids. So who wants to see parents fight?
Right. And you know what I don't know that they touched on, and I don't know how we got here, but he's apparently living with her.
What?
I Yeah, because she mentioned how he's not at like he doesn't have people at the house
Uh,
hanging out unless like the kids are with them. And like she's got boundaries at the house. They don't hang out alone, only when like the kids are around.
Oh, I didn't understand it like that. I thought it was like him coming over and like he can't chill here. If the kids are here, you're here. It's cool.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I didn't understand. I
I
didn't get
well,
that perception.
Well, I want to say there was either in one of the promos or in a previous episode where Chris mentioned how he had to move in or something like that. And so that's why I was like, wait, like hold on. You know, how did we get here?
No, no,
But
no.
you know, hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, but that's kind of what I remember hearing. And then with her talking about this conversation with Chris, I was like, oh man, yeah, it's got to be crazy. You have to have boundaries for sure if you're under the same roof. Um, so I don't know. And then, as we all know, he did eventually come back to LA because he started playing for the Lakers.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure, but either way, I mean, ugh, that whole situation. And then also the main thing I think that like makes my heart hurt for her is the fact that she's had such a tough time getting that bond with her son because of the fact that he was born through surrogacy. I think like that cannot be easy. And despite the fact that she's a woman with wealth and resources, sure, it's not that simple to just like reach out to a mommy group, and kind of go over some of these things because you're Khloe Kardashian. It's like who can you really trust to have these conversations with to
Hmm.
really understand fully? I mean, it looks like for Kim, she didn't have those issues, which great, more power to her. But yeah, I'm sure that Chloe probably could benefit from having someone who understands like what she's been through and how she's felt through all of it. But at the end of the day, she very clearly is a good mother. So I'm sure that that must have by now gotten all worked out.
I hope she's not living with Tristan. I think
Hmm.
things can get muddy real fast, real quick.
Yeah,
But if she is, I'm happy she's setting these boundaries.
yeah.
If he is living there, he's too rich to be living with Chloe. After all this, go find another baby mama to live with, okay?
Oh,
What what
well,
what is we doing?
ooh, I
If you're
mean,
there, move out. I said so. All
man.
right. All right. Section 4. They're in New York. Kendall, the second least interesting to look at, is at Fashion Week.
Oh my God.
And she's basically calling her mom, and her mom casually says, I'm going to Beyonce's birthday party. Name drop. I hate that about them. It's everything is like a name drop, everything is like a branding, marketing. It's like, what am I watching? I'm so disappointed with this episode and this season thus far. Sorry, I go ahead and like give you my opinion, and I'm just supposed to narrate
It's
for now.
fine. No,
But
it's fine. You got to
yeah,
get it out. You got to
I
go
had to. I had to.
organically.
And
Organic.
then Chris says that Kylie is her favorite, and she was on a late night show. And the audacity, Chris, like, couldn't you just say, I'm not answering that? You don't think like your kid's feelings hurt? I mean, I know everybody like laughs, but that kind of hurts.
I would think so. Um, well, going back to Kendall, um, I don't know. What are we doing here? She's beautiful.
Where's
I,
Bad Bunny? At least he's more interesting than she is.
oh my gosh, I don't think Bad Bunny's in the picture just yet, ma'am. But
Oh,
what you mentioned about the name dropping and all that stuff. I mean, okay, you got to look at it from the perspective of
that's
if I
who they hang
say,
out with.
yeah, if I say, oh, we're gonna go hang out with Nancy and Maury, people are not gonna understand what we're talking about. But
Hmm.
if we were to say, oh, we're gonna go and hang out with Kim Kardashian, people are gonna fucking know is that's who.
But in other episodes or like in Keeping Up, Kim pointed out how Chris does that all the time. She just likes to name drop. Like that's her thing. And it's cool. But I think maybe I was just peeved at this episode so much that I found everything to, kind of bother me.
Like,
But
yeah,
okay, I get it. They're all
yeah,
friends, all celebrities. Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha. All
And
right.
which was the celebrity she name dropped? Because I don't even remember that.
Beyonce.
Oh,
I'm going to Beyonce's birthday party. First of all, I thought Beyonce didn't even like them.
oh,
So now Chris is in there, like like swimwear. Like I'm confused.
well, and I'm jealous now. So, I mean, but going to the other thing you mentioned about her comment on the favorite child thing. Okay, so as you guys already know this by now, we're Latina. Like, we have siblings. There is no favorite child that will be spoken of. We know there's one.
We know there's one,
We know
but
there's
never admit it. They all love us the
one.
same, so they
That,
say.
yeah, yeah, no, always the same for sure. But we know,
We know.
and that's fine. We can live with that. But if they were to verbalize it, it's a problem. In fact, I don't know if it's a
Mhm.
Caucasian thing, but it would be a problem for us.
Did you say you didn't know if it was a Caucasian thing?
Yeah, I'm sorry, not sorry.
She, I don't know. All right. Section 5 is Kim talking to Kylie about ish that we already heard of in the first two episodes about Dolce and Gabbana and how, they just asked her because, Kim is just so talented to be creative director for the Milan Fashion Week. Um, Kim was also shooting the opening for the show, and then she reiterated that she was in charge of all these looks and accessories and shoes. And she was worried about Courtney, and the wedding and not having enough time elapse for all that stuff. So I don't know. It's stuff that we already heard in the other episode. I don't know why Kylie wasn't there when we initially heard it. Now you're just wasting my time because why am
Well,
I listening to it twice?
um,
Sorry,
I'm
not
gonna
sorry.
say that you just spoke for the both of us. Go ahead to the next question.
Okay.
I've got nothing. I've got nothing.
I'm just serious. I'm now like they're just building it up too much. I want to know what's the beef. What is it? And let's move on with it. If I find out the beef in what episode 8, 10, whatever the last episode, I'm boycotting. Maybe. You know, I kind of like them, but I'm probably boycotting. Okay. All right, section 6 is Courtney at New York Fashion Week. She's going to these fashion shows and more Let Me Press. So she's talking to Harper's Bazaar, Elle, Glamour, The Today Show. And, you know, she says, I'm like really an authentic person now, and I can't force anything. I just want you to know. End quote.
Okay, so again, I am happy for Courtney. I am proud of Courtney. Whatever the supplement, vitamins, whatever. I mean, more power to you. That's that's her brand, right? That's her thing. Um, and I don't know. I mean, I thought it was cool. Kind of behind the scenes of her press tour, kind of.
You seem
Um,
confused. It was cool, you know, it was all right, copacetic.
okay. Because there were moments, right, like kind of behind the scenes or before she would do the interviews, where she would kind of make these comments about just like feeling a little insecure or feeling scared or feeling like, the judgment of it all. And I think that's been a running theme throughout this season and in particular this episode. And so that I think was like the main thing that stuck with me. And I feel like now that we are what, like 20 20 years into the Kardashians' lives, it's interesting to see how, from the very beginning, they didn't have much as far as like fame, and that's the sort of wealth they have now. They had stuff because they weren't exactly poor, but but they seemed a little bit more confident before, and all that, and it's I think it's a little sad because clearly the public, the trolls, the haters have teared them down enough that it's eroded a lot of their confidence. So I think that's kind of really what I was like stuck on more. Because I mean, you're doing a presser for your company. Like it should be a happy time. You're succeeding at something you wanted to do, and instead you're kind of like scared. Um, just about like people's reactions to you and judgment, and that's a little sad to me.
I I just think that she annoys me. Um, I feel like every time, you know, she did like a press conference or something, she seems so unamused. And this is, you know, like you said, it's her baby. And she was like, "Well, I forgot. What was I saying? Like how do you even go to like a meeting and be like, "Oh, I forgot." You
Yeah,
know? That's like me going to L and then, you know, forgetting what I'm talking about or what I'm passionate about. So
right.
to me, those little instances seem like this is forced. Um, you know, she did mention that she felt pressure from her mom, Chris, and
Oh,
Kim
yeah,
on what's Courtney's thing. And, you know, probably pressure from the fans. Yeah, like what's your thing?
yeah.
So I feel now that we saw, you know, the behind the scenes, that she's doing it, but not really into it. At least that's my what I see.
The
You know.
perspective. Yeah. No, I can definitely like, perceive that as well, just because I don't know. She makes certain comments that to me seem a little contradictory. It's like, okay, you're in a happy place, you're in a good place, but then you're not fully happy because you're insecure about, the way that something is going to be perceived or how you'll be judged. And everybody has the right, to feel however they want to feel, of course. These are very contradictory things because you're behind the scenes saying, like, oh, it matters if you're like in a good relationship and I'm in the best relationship. It matters the people you have around you, and I have the best people around me now. So it's like, what was going on before? And then if this is such a great environment for you to be in now, why are you still feeling, a lot of these insecurities? So yeah, it's sad but also contradictory.
And something I just, as you were talking, I remembered, before they used to all show up to each other's thing. Like, when Kim was doing SNL, she had her whole entourage, her sisters, her best friends.
Yeah,
Like, now I feel like they're not there for Courtney, or we're not seeing that too much.
right.
So, like, what's really the beef besides Kim,
Hmm.
It can't be like the whole family. I mean, it can, but
Well, and I think you'll touch on it here in one of the other sections. But Chris was in New York. She actually showed up in New York. The call she had with Kendall, as we said in the prior section, she was mentioning she was going to New York. So why were you not a part of, if like Courtney said, you're feeling the pressure from your mom, why wasn't she there at some of these things? Like she's appeared to be for Kylie, for, Kim, and it just, yeah,
especially if this is her first project, her
yeah,
first big
big
project, first
project.
business.
Yeah,
So, yeah, now that I think about it, I find it a little bit weird, but
yeah.
Courtney's weird too. And I just want to point out what Hoda said, and she said that Court looks happier now than she did back then. And I don't think she was happy, so I don't know what that says.
Hoda, girl, I love you.
That is that was the highlight of this whole show. Let's see what else. So then, a little bit later there was a break, so I guess in the same section, Chris is there and she's talking about Chloe's the results for her face. I guess she's with Kendall now.
Yeah,
And so Kendall says, we just need to manage our stress levels and take care of ourselves. And then she mentions Chloe, how she doesn't sleep and how she's so exhausted and stressed and has lost so much weight. Um, I don't know what, melanoma has to do with all the things Kendall described. It seems like she was linking both of them.
yeah,
The way she was saying it, it sounded pretty ignorant to me, unless I misunderstood.
yeah.
What do you think?
Um, well, I think that maybe playing devil's advocate here.
Hmm.
Maybe she meant it from a place of like, when you're not at your best, when you're drained of your energy because you're stressed, when you're, not in a positive space, it can be, easy for your immune system to be lower. You're kind of more susceptible to just like negativity, bad vibes, and sicknesses. Like this is, a proven thing. Maybe that's where she was trying to go with it. If she wasn't, and if she was trying to make some other link that doesn't seem, appropriate. But yeah, like
But this is cancer. This is not the flu.
right.
Not
That
taking your vitamins or exercising.
that's definitely it's definitely a different thing. So I don't know if, like I said, maybe she's just thinking of it as like, oh, like certain things happening. And I don't believe that melanoma has occurred in, anyone else in her family. I don't know if this is like a genetic thing or a hereditary thing or anything like that. But Chloe has mentioned that, a lot of odd things have happened to her. So I don't know if maybe that's what Kendall's thinking was. Either
Hmm.
way, like if what she wanted to say was, oh, I think, like she said, we should be doing better about managing our stress and all that. Maybe just have that as like a separate thing, right? Like now that we know she's okay, let's that she's clear from the melanoma and all
Yeah.
that. Let's focus on not allowing anything else to affect
Hmm.
us. Maybe that could have
Yeah.
been what was going
Let's just say it was poor wording,
on.
syntax, diction thing.
Yeah.
All right. Section 7 is Kim and North, and they're playing with prosthetics. And Scott and Kim, Scott again, and they're talking about what life would have been, if they weren't as famous. And, there was a little prank action going on.
I think that it is hilarious how North just was like all over her mom's face, doing all these things. It's so cool that, she's able to do these things and she seems to be pretty good at it. And it's like, especially being a kid, most of the time girls want to play with makeup, but on themselves and do this and do that. But here she is interested in something a little bit more complex, and I think that's really amazing. So I really loved seeing that interaction, and even more so that Kim allowed it because I don't think I've ever seen Kim allow anyone to make her look the way North made her look, which was not exactly the prettiest. And yeah, the Scott thing that definitely did not feel organic. But him, kind of having like or attempting to have a deep conversation with her, that was interesting. And him asking her, have you like never broke it down? And she basically said she didn't or she hasn't. And like that's interesting to me because I think that's like a recipe for disaster, just speaking as someone who's definitely held things in the past and considering her life and all of the things she's been through, it's hard to believe that yeah, she hasn't had any kind of a breakdown. I mean, sometimes you need to have those. You need to get all those, emotions out. But we didn't get to hear her full response because Kim told her to be quiet. I mean, not Kim, I'm sorry. North told her to be quiet. And I thought that was hilarious because kids don't care about your deep thoughts. They just care about what they're doing.
I kind of like seeing North in there, just being a kid. It was kind of refreshing
Yeah.
from all the whatever's going on in these episodes. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I think even though Chloe's dealing with her drama, I think I rather watch her and,
Mhm.
see her get better and, just being a little more informed
Yeah.
than everything else that's going on. I know I said I was so interested to look at Kim's process with Dolce and Gabbana, but I think I learned the process in that one episode. That's it. I'm a
We're
quick
done.
learner, guys. I'm a quick learner. All right, section 8, Courtney and Trav, they're in New York, and she has an attitude of gratitude.
I mean,
I'm not gonna say nothing here. Go ahead.
I wrote 0 notes for that portion.
Ditto. All right. And the last section here is Kim is now in Milan and her stylist Danielle forgot her passport. I don't even know how that happens. Like, that's the first thing I pack. I could forget anything else
Oh my
but
god.
the passport and credit cards, obviously.
Obviously.
Um, so Danielle is missing, and it's felt because Kim is having a hard time making decisions, gathering looks for the Dolce and Gabbana show. So to me, it seemed like Danielle was helping with all these looks. I thought Kim didn't need all this reassurance, which is still, we know when she was with Kanye, the big influence that he had on her,
Right.
and how I guess scared or a little intimidated she was now that she decided to go on her own and figure out her
Mhm.
style and things like that. But she still seems very heavily dependent on her stylist. So I'm surprised at her stylist's input in such a big
Yeah.
way. At least that's the way I understood what was going on. She was like, I wish I had Danielle here and to put things together and this and that. I'm like, well, why didn't you just tell me that Danielle was co-creative director and I would have understood. So Kim is just basically saying, I like this, put it together, accessories, bags, make it look nice.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, come
Is that
on.
what you got from it?
Like, yeah, a part of it, yes. Okay, so very beginning. How do you forget your passport? Like, I'm sorry. And maybe we are the worst people to like, comment on that because we are very, very militant when it comes to our paperwork, when it comes to, anything that we need. for our trips, as we mentioned before, we travel a lot. So yeah, we've made mistakes in the past. Don't get me wrong, but we learned. And no, if I'm going anywhere, my passport's coming with me. So regardless, I thought
I
that
just
was
want to point out before you continue, they travel way more than we do. We travel probably
lovely.
what, 3 or 4 times a year?
Yeah,
They travel every 2 days. How does one forget the passport? It's like forgetting your license at this point.
right. That doesn't it doesn't make any
I
kind of sense.
digress. Go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Do they not need passports on Kim's private jet? I don't know. How does that work? I would think you would still need the passports, to get into like through the
Hmm.
airport or whatever. Anyway, but yeah. And then when I saw the promo last week about her mentioning that her stylist forgot her thing and that she absolutely needed her, I was a little confused by it. Like, I understand you needing her for your looks,
Hmm.
for what you're gonna wear. But why do you need her for the show like that? And then when I saw the episode in that part, and I was just like, well, this is interesting. I'd also like to point out Danielle used to work for Kanye.
Hmm.
So maybe she has trust in Danielle because she had trust in Kanye back in the day, like you mentioned.
I didn't
With
know that.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know if she was a part of Yeezy or what exactly, but yeah, she used to work for Kanye. And so it's rather interesting because I thought this was supposed to be all about Kim. Kim came up with this, Kim came up with that. So why are we so concerned with like Danielle not being there for that particular reason? For her own looks, I get it,
Hmm.
people the way people are. But outside of that, I was just kind of like, it's interesting. Okay. All right. Oh yeah. I see what you mean. Definitely see.
Yeah, she's just put such heavy emphasis on I'm the creative director. So to me, being creative director is she's creatively directing everything. Like she's
Everything.
mentioned the past 2 episodes, looks, accessories,
Yeah.
the entrance of the show. She wanted to be in charge of everything. So for her to seem like she needed, it wasn't even like an opinion. It was like, I need Danielle.
Yeah.
Like, where is she? Like she
Yeah.
was her hand kind of thing.
And she was like, well, I don't know. I don't know. When Domenica was asking, I think about a piece, and she was like, I don't know. And I was just like,
Hmm.
okay, interesting.
I
But
don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see
maybe,
how it unfolds in the next
right.
episode. Ultimately, what I've seen, I liked, but that was a little disappointing to me. I thought she was
Yeah.
really gonna take charge of the whole thing. It didn't seem, very opiniony on
Right.
Danielle's behalf. It was more of a, I need confirmation that this looks good.
That this is the
When
right
she
way.
should be the last say that this looks
Yeah.
good.
I agree.
So overall, I think this episode was a disaster. What a waste of 45 minutes of my life when I could have been sleeping
Oh.
by midnight. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the next episode because that's what I do. I gotta tell y'all. We gotta tell y'all what's going on.
Yeah.
I hope it's a lot better though. I couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's very interesting just that like it's kind of like they're starting over again in some ways, trying to see what sticks, what doesn't. Um, but I would like to see more of Chloe. Not that she necessarily needs to share like absolutely everything, because again, everything she's going through is pretty tough. But I'd like to see more of her, and maybe people uplifting her. She's
Mhm.
always uplifting others. Maybe more of that, I think, would be fun. Or even more of her and Scott. That's always been organic. That
Yes.
before. Yeah. So, And of course, please just tell us what is the problem, Courtney, Kim. Like just let us know. That's it.
Well, we saw
That's all.
some previews that she was crying and saying that Kim stole all her wedding looks. I'm like, is this the argument? This cannot be the argument. It
Right.
cannot.
That, yeah. Like, wouldn't you want your stuff to kind of be out there like that? Whatever. What do I know? I don't have a fashion line after me.
I know. And besides, I don't even think Courtney's whole wedding look was even her look to begin with. I think she's adopted the
Yeah.
Trav look. I don't know why I like calling him Trav.
Trap.
Now she's all punk rock and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I mean, I know it's a trend and
Yeah.
you're with somebody, you kind of adopt their fashion,
Right.
but it doesn't I don't think it's true. I don't think she knows who she is. That's the vibe she's giving me.
Whoa, interesting.
I
Okay.
don't think so. I think she's trying to be like, this is the perfect, we're couple goals. I'm my own couple goals. I have the perfect relationship. She's trying to convince herself.
Yeah.
She's saying these things. I have the right people around me. This is the right time. But she's contradicting herself in spoken and body language.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel confident. She doesn't look enthusiastic about her business. I don't think that's authentically her style. I don't feel like she's authentically happy. I think Chloe's happier, even though she's going through a ton, I was going to say a ish load of things.
Yeah.
I think she's happier,
Yeah.
to be honest. And
Right.
I mean, I hope she finds herself. I think she mentioned that she had a therapist. I hope,
Yeah.
maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Maybe, I have it all wrong.
Well,
But I don't know what's up with Courtney. I thought she was fun before. I don't like this
yeah,
new
that's true.
since she turned 40, I feel like she's changed drastically. Even like a little before that, when she was
Yeah.
like very snappy with Kim and her sisters and things like that. So I feel like there's just something going on, that there's like unresolved issues that she's not talking about.
Yeah. And maybe therapy, will help her through that. It's it's needed. And I think that's probably the last I'll say on her for this
Yeah.
episode. Obviously watch it guys because if you're a fan you're gonna watch it anyway. But let us know what you guys thought, of course.
In the comment section, we want to know because, we can go on this rant for days. At least I can. But I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be semi-objective, factual, It's not
Right.
working with boring people, but I'm trying. We're trying, right?
Yeah, definitely. Right.
All
Definitely.
right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, be part of the tribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.